Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
Welcome back to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your host, Rob and
Randy.
And we are
The Happy Healthy Guys. What's up, my man?
it's great to see you. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. This is an episode that everybody's going to want to keep to share it. We've got great information. So let's get into it. So here's what the studies are showing right now. Okay. So as I'm reading this, it says 93% of Americans are not metabolically healthy. And more than a third of US adults have prediabetes. Of those, more than 84% don't know that they have it. Randy, why is it that you think that so many Americans are not metabolically healthy?
Yeah, and it's kind of the joke, and it's not a joke because it's so serious, but where are the other 7% that are healthy, right? You just look around, you see so many people that are hurting and sick and depressed and overweight, not living their happiest, healthiest life. But there's a lot of reasons why. Let's talk about these first two. They're going to be linked together, and we'll go back and forth with this. But number one is going to be many people, and it's absolute fact. If you're metabolically sick, if you're metabolically unhealthy, you are insulin resistant. Now, that doesn't mean that you're a diabetic, but you've got serious issues at a cellular level that's usually coupled with, you are a sugar burner, and we'll go back to that. So what is insulin? What is insulin resistance? Because really, sometimes insulin gets vilified as if it's the problem, but insulin is a very important hormone because if you didn't have it, your blood sugar would rise extremely high. You'd go into diabetic shock or some type of diabetic coma, insulin shock, and you would die. So it's there to help move glucose into the tissue cell. When we're saying insulin resistant, it is not an insulin problem. It is a cellular health problem. All health happens at a cellular level. So what's happening is your body's no longer accepting glucose, and your body's having to secrete more and more and more insulin to counteract this. And unfortunately, too much insulin is it's a fat storage hormone. You cannot burn fat in the presence of insulin.
It is. And that right there is one of the primary reasons why people get stuck, right? So they're trying to lose weight. They can't figure out why it is that the scale isn't budging, or they're being perfect with what it is that they're eating, their exercise, all the things, yet they get to a certain point and then they can't lose any more weight, or they stop being perfect and they gain the weight back and even more. And it's because nobody's ever taught them about this metabolic adaptation, insulin resistance. Everything has been taught to us as calories in or calories out, move more, eat less, and or a version of it. If we look at the top, I say top, but if you look at the weight loss programs that are out there, they all have one thing in common. And the thing that they all have in common is reduce the amount of calories that you're eating and move and or exercise more. That right there that we'll talk about is a zero-sum game, because the reality is that diets do not work. And I know people that are listening right now are going to go, what do you mean diets don't work? Diets are important. Hey, we're not saying don't eat good, healthy food, put good, healthy nutrients into your body. No, what we're saying is that caloric restriction does not work. What would you say then is the biggest reason why it is that caloric restriction is a zero-sum game, and why is it that caloric restriction does not work?
Yeah, because when you're cutting your calories, you're basically cutting your nutrients. And you may not be getting many nutrients to begin with, especially the processed food industry, which we'll talk about here in a second. It's a big problem, but we have to stop counting calories. We have to start counting nutrients, nutrient-dense real food. And so when you're eating fake food that's not nutrient-dense, your body is going to go into a state of inflammation and stress, and it's going to further exacerbate insulin resistance.
weight and or take a drug for that, which is cover the symptoms, but not truly get to the cause. So as we're talking about the cause, what is the cause?
Well, they say the cause is the cure, right? So a lot of times you have to stop doing what's killing you. I think that was what Hippocrates would ask all of his patients before he would even work with them is, are you willing to stop doing the things that are making you sick? One of the things that we're doing, Dr. Rob, is we have become a society of mindless snacking and eating. I think the average American is eating 17 times per day. Let that sink in for just a second. And you could be thinking, well, that's insane, Dr. Randy. Nobody's sitting down and eating 17 times a day. It's not what we're saying. We're talking about little bitty snacks. It takes about 30 to 40 calories to break a fast and to secrete the hormone insulin, which automatically moves you into fat storage versus fat burning. And so if you're getting all these little insulin hits, like a bite of a cookie, a handful of almonds, a bite of your protein bar, a protein shake, your latte, chewing gum, breakfast, lunch, dinner, it's all day long, little bitty snacking mindlessly. And every time you keep secreting insulin, you keep making yourself bigger and bigger and more inflamed. And that is going to contribute to what we talked about earlier, which is creating insulin resistance. You can't keep trying to shove glucose into a cell that doesn't need it. That's why all these drugs they're creating for diabetics literally force sugar into a cell that can't even receive it. What happens to a healthy cell when you try to shove something into it that it doesn't want? Well, you're going to caramelise the cell that's going to die, or you're going to take it and you're going to start forming higher triglycerides. You cannot poison your body into health. You don't want to lower blood sugar. You want to help create a healthy environment where your cells are now healthy. One of the best things you can do, if we're going to give some tips here, is stop snacking and eating all day long. There's no evidence whatsoever that eating more than 2 to 3 times per day is beneficial metabolically, which would be more ancestrally consistent, I would imagine. I can't imagine our great-grandparents were sitting around snacking all day long as if they had nothing else better to do.
Probably not.
Probably not.
So that makes me think of two things. So the reason that people are stalled, the first one, we were talking about this metabolic adaptation, but a second one, which is huge, which is what I feel like you're saying right now, is really inconsistent lifestyle habits that we've been taught. And we have these inconsistent lifestyle habits because of, number one, is just the belief system that we've been taught.
Yeah.
Okay. The belief system that, yeah, you need to eat several small meals a day every day because that somehow stokes your metabolism.
Yeah.
Well, we ended up believing that. So that's why we end up doing these things, right? And so I would say that, as you're saying, like mindless, yeah, it is mindless because I think people are not asking enough questions, right? They're just following the herd.
Yep.
And so what we know is that if you follow the herd, you fly off of a cliff. So let's not do this. And then those inconsistent lifestyle habits, if I'm hearing what it is that you're saying, is leading to then hormonal imbalances, right? The hormonal imbalances that are creating that insulin resistance that you're talking about. And I think a lot of people really don't understand or realize that that's what's happening, because when people hear about hormones, most of the time it's going to be women, okay?
Mm-hmm.
More lately, men, because of all the T clinics that are popping up, which is really what I call legal steroids, is what that is. And
it's funny, you ask the guy who joked out, hey, do you take test? Are you on steroids? No, I just go see my doctor at the T clinic.
We had to remember
steroid injections.
We were filming a commercial, and the guy that was filming the commercial was like, wow, you guys are in incredible shape. And this was a gentleman that was our age. Yeah. And he's like, man, I am super healthy. I'm healthier now than I've ever been in my entire life. And he was yoked. He was huge. He's like, yeah, I don't take any medications ever. I don't take any drugs. And he's going through all the medical interventions that he's not doing. And then he finishes that off by saying, yeah, I've been going to this T clinic down the road. I'm like, I thought you just said that you weren't taking any drugs. What are they injecting into you? Because I feel pretty certain that testosterone is a drug, because that is a steroid, right?
Whether you get it in Mexico on the black market, or you get it from your doctor, it's still a drug, it's still a steroid, it's still synthetic testosterone, not to digress. But yeah, you're right, man. And I think one of the big deals hormonally is your brain goes to sex hormones, right? You go
that's where I was going with that.
right?
Totally.
Testosterone, progesterone. But what nobody's talking about, I say nobody, we are, and other people in this space potentially are, but your doctors are not talking about this. They're not talking about the metabolic hormones. We're talking about insulin, glucagon, leptin, cortisol, adrenaline, adiponectin, all these different metabolic hormones that are involved in thousands of metabolic processes that are happening in your body. If you don't balance your metabolic profile, you'll never be able to balance your sexual profile, which doctors go straight to the sex hormones. They're giving women these hormones. They're putting in the pellets. These guys are getting testosterone because you've wrecked your hormone profile because you are insulin resistant. You are a sugar burner and a fat storage machine, and you're metabolically sick, which is why the sexual profile is so horribly predictable now in our society because, man, people have less libido, right? I mean, it's true. Men have less testosterone now. They're already showing it that even young kids, like people in their early 20s, I guess those aren't kids, they're adults, have way less testosterone than we did 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Here's the question I have is,
what you got?
When is it that the doctor tells these people to get off of the thyroid medication, the hormone pellets, the hormones that they're taking? When do they tell them to get off of that?
It's a great question. I think it's called oral therapy for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Right?
So what that inherently should be teaching you and telling you right now is that even they know that it's not getting to the cause of the problem, and even they know it's not working. But what they, being the entire pharmaceutical industry, knows is we now have a customer for the rest of their life.
You got it. And they're the same people. So the food industry and the drug industry, they are the same people. They're making us sick, and then they're giving us drugs to treat all the diseases from all the toxic poisons. Just think about it. Why in the world do we have an FDA? Why is the Food Administration and the Drug Administration in the same agency? They should be separate, but they are not. Going back to what you talked about, Dr. Rob, is all the chemicals in our food. There's over 10,000 approved chemicals that can be put into foods in America. And we use the word food very loosely because it isn't food, these flavoring agents, these preservatives, but all these toxic food items, these hyper palatable, ultra processed food that's making us all sick, making us insulin resistant, making us sugar burners. What they're showing is there's a phenomenon happening right now that wrecks your metabolic profile. It's called bioaccumulation. And you do a good job of describing this, Dr. Rob, when you talk about a pig and why they have so much fat because of the toxins that they're fed. They'll eat anything. So why don't you describe that? Because I think it's a really good example of how pigs, just like humans, will go into bioaccumulation.
Yeah.
All the storage of this in the fat.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like bacon is my question. That's a better question. If you don't like bacon, I don't know that we can be friends. But we love bacon because bacon has a lot of fat. And why is it that it has that fat? Well, because we know that pigs, if you've been around pigs, they will eat anything. So it doesn't matter what's in it. So pigs are really filthy, toxic animals. And so what their body does, because the innate is now working, what their body does is it starts storing those chemical toxins, and it stores it in their body fat. So as a result, you have these really fatty animals. The same, though, holds true for us. The more chemicals and toxins that you put into our body, because it's bioaccumulation, the more our body is going to want to take those toxins and stick it in your fat cells, because what it's trying to do is trying to move it away from the other cells in your body that your body needs to be working just to keep you alive in order to be able to keep everything functioning the way it's supposed to. So now you have somebody that is turning themselves into a fat storage machine. But this is also why, if you've done things like keto, now we're not against doing keto or paleo or any of the other quote diets that are out there, those things still allow you to put things into your body that are toxic for your body. And if you continue to keep on doing those things, you've built a fat storage machine, which is why when you stop doing those things, you gain all of the weight back and even more, because what you've done is your brain, neurologically speaking, has taught your body how to store fat for fuel, and it's just going back to that memory.
No, that's well said. And so that bioaccumulation is a real thing, not just with chemicals. Here's the other part of that we talk about a lot here, but it deserves a talking point in this conversation, is the overuse, or really just the use of all the heart healthy oils, right? all the heart healthy oils are destroying us metabolically. So we're talking about, when I say heart healthy, this is defined by the American Heart Association, things like canola oil, soybean oil, heck, sunflower, safflower oil, grapeseed oil, all the nut and the seed, these industrial oils that were built for machines, that is in every part of our food chain. These heart healthy oils, and I'm obviously being very sarcastic, they're not heart healthy. They're the opposite of that. But it's crazy how the American Heart Association is telling us this, that you want to eat these oils. But these oils also play a role in bioaccumulation, especially these seed oils, because they have a nasty half-life, over 500, maybe over 600 days, which means after 600 days, half of these toxic oils are still in your tissue. Bioaccumulation, not only in your fat cells, because it will break your fat cells, creating more insulin resistance, creating a type 2 diabetic environment. They inflame the body at a cellular level, and they're nasty and they're hard to get rid of. So when you start thinking about eating these oils, you have to be very, very smart. When you go to a restaurant, you need to ask them what they're cooking in. These things, these oils, the almond oil, the sunflower, heck, most of the avocado oil, even olive oil is cut with these seed oils. You want to stick with your animal fats and avoid these like crazy. But this is a real issue when it talks about bioaccumulation, inflammation, growing your fat cells, making you inflamed, and creating more insulin resistance.
Yeah, guys, we're reading these oils directly off of the American Heart Association's website, as well as the Cleveland Clinic right here, that are telling you that you should be eating all of these seed oils, including canola oil. Even they're telling you to cook in a light virgin olive oil as well, the peanut oil. Yeah. All these things are not heart healthy, but that's what it is that we're being.
Look at this, the best oils for sauteing here: soybean, corn, and hemp oil. Dear God, hemp is a PUFA. Flaxseed, huge PUFA, high polyunsaturated fatty acids. These suckers are estrogenic. You want to wreck your hormone profile. Remember, seed oils are estrogenic. They turn you into a female that's estrogen dominant. Even if you're a male, you'll see it with the guys. The guys will get the titties, the boobs, and the belly. They start growing like a pregnant woman because they're estrogenic. They wreck your metabolism. So we know this, avoid them at all costs. And here's the other piece that people don't talk about, and we've been talking about this for over 7 years, is not only when you put these oils in your body, what they do to you chemically and the bioaccumulation, you start creating a short-chain fatty acid deficiency. Dr. Rob, what are short-chain fatty acids?
Short-chain fatty acids, or SCT, or short-chain triglycerides, which is why I'm glad you're going there. And by the way, I just also want to mention that I think pregnant women are beautiful. We're talking about men that look like pregnant women.
Oh yeah,
not the case. And so, I just want to throw that out there.
So what have I always told you anyway about a pregnant woman?
You tell me. I don't remember.
No, I think it's beautiful. Like, it's so beautiful to see a woman that's pregnant. It's such a cool thing. I'm talking about men who should not be looking like beautiful pregnant women.
Exactly.
Because they're estrogen dominant and they got the belly and the boobs.
Dude, that's a whole different conversation nowadays. Jesus. Yeah. Okay. Christ, my Lord and Savior. Okay.
Yes, amen.
So, all right. So let's talk about short chain triglycerides. Let's talk about some solutions. We've been talking about all of the things that are causing us to be stuck, but what are the things that can be able to move us forward and get us unstuck, get us moving in the right direction? The first one that we just talked about is a short chain triglyceride. What is this? Short chain fatty acids. They're created inside the gut through the fermentation of fiber. But as we all know, the gut biome has been completely destroyed because of not only all the toxins on the outside, but the standard American diet that we've been eating on the inside. So as a result of this, people have leaky gut. Their guts aren't absorbing anything. They're not absorbing the nutrients in there. So what this short chain triglyceride that we actually brought to market does is it helps to be able to heal that gut. It really takes the taxing off of the gut to try to make these short chain fats on its own, because we're introducing it in a way that is naturally occurring in nature. It's one of the challenges with a lot of the other, quote, healthy oils out there, like an MCT oil or medium chain triglyceride, is it doesn't occur like that naturally in nature. Yeah. It's literally a fractionated oil. So your body doesn't know what to do with it. Because it doesn't know what to do with that, instead of helping the gut to heal, it's actually further destroying the gut. Okay, which is why you get those disaster pants, or people are, diarrhea.
Is real thing, and if you know, you know.
Absolutely. And so with the short chain fats, you don't have to worry about that. And so not only that, but you've got these these short chain fats, which aid in, and what we all know when we're talking about the hormones that we were just talking about a few minutes ago. Well, these short chain fats are the building blocks of these hormones. So you need them for your fat burning hormone. That's part of that actual hormone itself. So you've got to have them. So that's why many of the clients that we have, or many people who know us, use these short chain fatty acids for all of their cooking. I know that right next to my right on my stove is a big jar of SCT oil, because I'll cook everything in that SCT oil, because I know that it's nourishing to my body. It's not just nourishing to my body, it's healing to my body. How many foods can you say that are actually healing your body?
Not many in a world of overblown superfoods, which that's a whole different discussion as well. But this fat that we use, that we created, remember, anytime your body has to make something because it's so critical to the health of your metabolism and your overall expression of life, you know that's something you want to put into your body. So your body will make them, but it is the molecular link between your nutrition, that gut-brain axis, and your overall health, but we are deficient in them. Here's some cool things here about these fatty acids, because you've got three main fatty acids that are considered short-chain triglycerides. You've got acetate, propionate. You also have butyrate. Butyrate usually gets all the glory and all the shine, but the other two are all-star as well. Here's one thing about acetate, the shortest chain. It's a carbon backbone of 2-carbon chain. It actually triggers the hypothalamus to actually start using your visceral fat to burn for energy. And guys, we know visceral fat is the fat that packs around your organs. That's very inflammatory and linked to serious problems with your heart, your organs, and become this own inflammatory organ. So acetate triggers the visceral fat burning. Propionate, pretty cool. This is interesting, especially in this climate, is acetate stimulates the release of GLP-1, that glucagon-like peptide, like the drugs are supposed to emulate. Your body will make it naturally, and propionate actually stimulates that release, which plays a huge role in appetite, satiety, that feeling of being full. And then butyrate, beautiful about butyrate, it's huge with lowering lipogenesis in your liver. So the production of fat. So we know a lot of people now have NAFLD. They've got that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, that congested liver. Butyrate plays a role in reducing that. It also sends leptin signaling to the brain to tell your brain to burn fat. Ladies and gentlemen, short chain triglyceride oil, there's nothing like it. And if you start replacing these seed oils with these type quality fats, you can turn your metabolic health around very, very quickly.
Yeah, so that's a great solution. So that's something that I love, is rather than literally taking a lot of stuff out of what it is that you're doing, just to add the SCT oil in there. And so you can eat with it. You can eat it right off the tablespoon. It's super easy, something easy that you can do on a daily basis. Heck, you can get the SCT oil lip balm. You're putting it on your lips, putting it on your, anywhere on your body. So it's on your face.
It's on my face every day. Ladies, you're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on garbage, toxic chemical products that's going into your skin, getting into your endocrine system, and wrecking your metabolism. SCT on my face every single day. It's incredible. It's way cheaper than a $500 bottle of the latest gimmicky cosmetic fragranced super cream.
So I know as we're beginning to wrap up, what it is that we've talked about is the reason that you stall, or the reason you're stuck and you can't lose the weight that you want to, is because you don't have metabolic adaptation. Your body's not fat adapted.
Yeah, there's no flexibility.
There's no flexibility inside there. So you got to get that flexibility in there. Okay. We also talked about how just inconsistent lifestyle habits. Okay. Eating 6 times a day. So the solution there is don't eat 6 times a day. Go to eat 3 times a day and don't snack. So that's something that you can do right there that can be able to start changing the next thing that we talked about, which is your body's hormonal profile. Add the SCT oil in there to be able to help your body stop working against your body, start working with your body to get the nutrients that you need.
Don't forget to surf. Stop eating all the fake food with 10,000 chemicals in it. Simply eat real food. Real foods don't have these toxic chemical poisons. So be conscious of that as well. Get rid of the heart healthy oils, like we said, the canola, the soy, the corn, the peanut, and start eating these real foods that are really going to be animal based, which are always the best foods to eat. The most bioavailable nutrition for sure are in animal foods. Plants aren't here to save the world nutritionally. You're going to get the best nutrients from your animal fats.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who are listening right now and you're not sure if you've got a metabolic problem, well, we made it really easy for you to find out if you do have a metabolic problem. So all you got to do is go to metabolismscore.com. And when you get to metabolismscore.com, you can be able to take a quiz, and that quiz is going to show you where your metabolism's at. And if your metabolism's not good, we're going to show you the steps on what it is you can do. Next, we're going to give you more information, give you the steps on exactly what it is that you can do. And we're just trying to make this as simple as possible for folks.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up too, because I know some people listening might be saying, I did cut out those oils. I'm not eating fake food. I'm walking. I'm very conscious of my lifestyle, yet I still can't budge. That's where it goes back to something else is metabolically wrong. It may not be your fault. It may be your metabolism. So go to that metabolismscore.com, fill that out, because now we can see where you're at. And then we have solutions, because really, like you said earlier, Dr. Robert, it really is a zero-sum game. If your metabolic thermostat, we talk about that, setting your thermostat, doesn't matter what's going on outside, the inside is going to keep it at a certain temperature. Your body has a metabolic thermostat. Yours may be set into a spot you don't want it to be set at. That can be changed. That can be shifted. If not, when all the dust settles and all the diets have failed you and all the exercise and all the supplements and all the starvation, your body just puts you right back where you were, or maybe even worse. We would love to help support you. Go to metabolismscore.com and check that out.
Yeah, so thanks for listening to the show today. Like it, share it, subscribe, share it with everybody that you know, and review it as well. So that helps us out tremendously. And with that being said, over and out. Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast.
Love you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram at the H2 Life, or on YouTube and Facebook at the Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.